Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Julia for those who are new, and today I will be doing a reading vlog. It will be the first reading vlog that I've ever done. Today I have a few books that are on my TBR for the next few weeks, but before we jump into those books and before I pick those books up from the library, I wanted to quickly chat about the book that I just completed, and this is A Daughter of No Rules by Carissa Broadbent. Guys, this is such an amazing book. I loved their story so much, and I don't often give 5-star ratings to the books. There's always lots of things that just don't make sense in my mind. My mind is very structural and very logical, and for me it is important to understand exactly the motivation of the main characters, why they do this, that, or the other. If I feel disconnect, it's hard for me to give a 5-star rating. However, with this book, everything just made so much sense. I loved the main character so much. She is probably one of my most favorite female characters in fantasy, and the main thing that I loved about her is her ability to take responsibility for her actions, to take responsibility for her life, and don't rely on anyone to save her. She is very resilient and very morally strong, but at the same time she does come across as a vulnerable person, and it makes complete sense when you get to know everything that Tisana had to go through. And I am waiting for the part 2 of this book in the library, so while I'm waiting, I'm gonna go and drop this book off, and I will pick up the few books that I will be reading in this vlog. I just got back from the library and I picked up a couple of books that we will be reading in today's vlog, and the first book that I will be reading I actually requested an audio copy from the library, and it is Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica. This is a domestic thriller, and for some reason summer is the best time for me to read thrillers. I tend to read more thrillers in summer, and I know it might be a little controversial because the typical weather for the thriller would be gloomy and dark, but for some reason summer associates with me with reading thrillers. This book in particular tells a story about 2 women and a girl that went missing 11 years ago, and the girl came back 11 years after, and we will get a story of what was happening behind the kidnapping of those women and a girl. And so far, I'm really enjoying it. I am on 25%. The story is told from perspective of several people, and we also have 2 different timelines. One is 11 years before and one is now. It's been really entertaining. It's very fast paced, and you really get to see in depth how the characters were feeling during those events that were happening. Plus it is really fast paced. I listened to 25% of this book during the morning, and it's really hard to stop listening because the chapters are not very long, and you kind of go from one person's opinion to another, and you can trace by these opinions what was happening 11 years ago and what is happening now after the girl returned. So far I'm really happy with this book. Another book that I picked up from the library this time is She Started It, which is another thriller by Sin Gilbert. I don't know too much about this book, and I prefer to keep it that way. All I know that there is a bachelor party involved and something happens with one of the friends at this party. I'm very excited because it is about a remote island, and it gives all the summer vibes, and you could see on the cover that it's like palm trees and ocean. The last book that I picked up from the library and that I will be reading in this vlog is Love Theoretically by Ellie Hazelwood. I love her books. I am typically not a big reader of rom-coms, but her books, I just love how she depicts her characters, and The Love Hypothesis and Love on the Brain are one of my favorite romantic comedies, and I have really high hopes for this book as well. I believe that this will probably be the book that I will be reading next, just to have a break between thrillers. I'm very excited to get into both of these books as well. I can't hear the man anymore, which is a relief. I wanted to give a quick update to Local Woman Missing, and I just can't express enough how much I love this book. I'm almost done. I am at 88%. I love this book so much. It's one of those thrillers that is page-turning, gripping, terrifying, and you just cannot wait to get into the next chapter. Most of the chapters end on a cliffhanger, and I love that about books. And in general, I just feel so entertained. I feel so immersed into the story. I love the characters. I love the dual timeline. I love that we kind of uncover the story of what happened 11 years ago from the perspective of the events happening 11 years ago, plus the events that are happening now. I don't know if I've ever been so engaged with a thriller. I will give you my final thoughts on this book when I finish it. I cannot be more happy than when I find a good book.
As I lean in to collect them, who will live this to me? I haven't showered. My hair before. All they need is enough circumstantial evidence to convince a jury she's dead. Circumstantial evidence, I asked. Like what? What did you do with her clothes? I asked.
I am about to go to the mall with my partner to do a little bit of shopping for him and also get a couple of treats for myself for the night. But before I do that, I wanted to give a quick update on Local Women Missing. I have finished this book and I am obsessed. I'm in love with this book. I don't remember being so excited to follow the plot, to be so engaged, to love all the characters, and to be taken completely off guard. What makes this book so special to me is that it can absolutely 100% be so relatable. There is nothing, weird in the plot. Sometimes you do get the plot where could it really happen in real life? This book is so relatable. I could totally see it happening in real life, and I couldn't wait to get to the end of the book, and it was not disappointing at all. I am in love. I would definitely be picking up my books by Marie Kubica. I give this book 5 stars. I would give this book 6 stars, 10 stars. It was so amazing. Another update that I have is that I started reading Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood, and I don't know what's going on with me, but I'm enjoying this book so much as well. I'm so obsessed. I am at a 200-page mark. I'm obsessed with Elsie. Elsie is so relatable. I see myself in her in so many different ways. And I love Jack. He's perfect boyfriend. He has 0 flaws, and sometimes that's just what you need. You need a character who does not have any flaws, who is sweet, who is supporting, who is involved, who really cares about Elsie, and who wants the best for her. I am just obsessed with this couple. I cannot wait to see how their relationship is gonna evolve. I love to see the characters that are a little bit older than your usual rom-com characters, and it makes it a little bit more relatable for me as well. But I don't want to go ahead of myself. I don't want to be super excited and be disappointed. But I mean, it's hard not to. It's such an amazing book. It's such an amazing rom-com. I have finished Love Theoretically, and I can say for sure that this is one of my favorite books of all time. This is one of my favorite rom-coms, and in general, it's such an amazing book. And every time I finish one of the Ali Hazelwood books, I say that this is my new favorite. With every next book, she absolutely outdoes herself, and this is no exception. It's amazing. I loved the main characters. Rom-com in general is all about the characters, about the relationship, about their communication, banter. And this was just phenomenal. I enjoyed every single second of this book. I couldn't stop. I had to read on my breaks. I could not put this book down. Everything that the main characters were going through was understandable. It made complete sense. The conflict in the end of the book was so good. It felt new and it felt refreshing. This book touched every string of my heart. Elsie was such a great character. She was so relatable. I could see myself in her in so many different ways. And Jack he's perfect. He's understanding, he's caring, he's loving, he's strong, he has a great sense of humor. I cannot wait to read Check and Mate, that I believe is coming out on November 7. And I also need to read 3 of her novellas. Let me know if you've read the novellas. and what you think about them, because I heard mixed reviews about them and I personally don't really like novellas, but I love Ellie Hazelwood's writing, so I am on my line here too. I'll be in love with them. The next book that I will be reading in this vlog is She Started It by Cian Gilbert. This book pretty much tells the story of 4 girls, and they have been invited to a bachelorette party of the girl that they went to high school with, and they haven't seen this girl for 10 years. They haven't spoken with this girl, and all of a sudden they receive plane tickets and an invitation to an all-inclusive resort on a private island and are invited to be bridesmaids. And the girl that invited them, the bride, is the girl that they have been teasing in high school. This is so screwed up right off the bat. They haven't spoken with her for 10 years and now they are invited to be her bridesmaids on this private island where everything is included. They don't have to pay anything. Obviously the main characters say yes and they fly to this island, and I guess we'll see what happens. I am here with an update for She Started It by Cian Gilbert. I am approximately 2/3 in this book, and I am enjoying this book so far. I feel like it's a really good, like it's a solid psychological thriller. This book is roughly divided into 2 parts. In the first part, we really get to know the main characters. All 4 women have a lot of secrets, especially from each other, and really bad secrets. And Poppy, through these different types of psychological games that she's playing with them, forcing these secrets to come out and forcing these women to confront these secrets and to confront each other. She also keeps reminding them of how they treated her back in high school, and she tries to get the emotional reaction from them. The second part of the book really reminds me of And Then There Were None. That is a classic by Agatha Christie. I honestly love that story. I love this suspense aspect of people being in a very secluded space, and a very kind of like either in the room, or in this case they're in the secluded island. They cannot leave this island and something horrible starts happening to them one by one. This is not a very long book. It's only 340 pages. I'm quite certain that I will be finishing this book today. I stopped by the library today. I have requested 2 more books that I will be reading after She Started It, and they arrived, and I'm so excited to get into both of them. And the first book that I picked up is You Are Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Colleen Bayron. This book tells a story about a girl, Charity, and she has her dream job where she is playing a final girl in some of the setup plays that are going on in this camp by the lake. And the guests that are staying in this camp paid to be scared by these actors, and she's one of them, and she's doing really good job. But on the final day of the camp, something happens and one of her friends goes missing and then found dead. And she understands that something is going on, something really sinister is going on in this camp, and she might actually become that final girl. This is a very short book. It's only 230 pages. This would probably be the next book that I will be reading after She Started It, just simply because it's so short, and I love the idea. I love this summer camp vibe, and I absolutely love the cover as well. The next book that I picked up, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to go back into this world. And this is the second installment in the series of Crown of Nyaxia, and this is The Ashes and the Star Curse Came by Carissa Broadbent. This is a thick book. It's over 600 pages of amazingness, of excitement. I cannot wait to start reading this book. I loved The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I gave it solid 4 stars. I think I actually gave it 4.5. It was such a strong beginning to an amazing series. As far as I know, this is the first 2 books in the series of 6, where each 2 books will be describing a particular coven of vampires. Carissa is so amazing at creating worlds and creating her own magic system, creating beautiful characters, creating very dynamic relationships between these characters, and also having a really good combination of epic fantasy, adventurous romance, and politics. I am someone who doesn't really like politics and doesn't really get a lot of fun reading about politics, but Carissa does it so well that it just like becomes such an important part of the plot. You cannot stop being fascinated and blown away. Politics is such a huge part of this plot, but it doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel like an obligation. It doesn't make you want to skip certain parts. I just love Carissa Broadbent's writing so much. I have finished She Started It, and I have a lot to say about this book. It was really, really good thriller, and I had a lot of fun reading it. Especially I like the first part where we kind of get to know the main characters and we get some exposure to their secrets that they are hiding from one another. The narration is built the way that it kind of takes some time to figure out who is hiding what and from who. Especially the 4 main characters used to be best friends and they are still considered best friends, but there are very, very important things that they are hiding. So I really enjoyed that. The second part of this book reminds me a lot of And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, and I believe that this story has been told in so many different ways, and I really did not need to read another interpretation of that story. However, I should say that there was a very nice plot twist in the end of the book that I absolutely ruined for myself when I was trying to see how many pages are left in this book. Luckily, it was closer to the end, and there were just a few pages left to unravel in this plot. If you are someone who likes to see how many pages are in the book, do not do it with this specific book because it's gonna ruin something important for you. All in all, I gave this book 3.75 stars, and I usually give very, very high ratings to thrillers. The reason why this one didn't make a 4-star category for me is the overall feeling that I was left after finishing this book. It's one of those thrillers where like you kind of want to take a shower and wash off these feelings from your body and your mental space to get rid of yourself of this negative energy. The ending of this book hung really, really heavy on me, and it wasn't that easy to let it go. I was left with the feelings of being disturbed and being anxious and just in general feeling unpleasant. There are a lot of trigger warnings that should come with this book, and I wish I could share them with you, but if I do, it will ruin the plot for you. And this book was supposed to conclude the reading vlog for me, but when I finished this book, I picked up another book in the library that I pretty much just finished within a day and a half, and this is You Are Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Killian Bayron. I didn't read any of the books by this author before, but I thought it's kind of a fun horror slasher book to read in summer. I gave this book 3 stars. It was a really, really nice read. It's very short. It's only 230 pages. So the story pretty much rotates around the camp that is on the lake. And there was a movie that was made about this camp, and it was like a slasher movie. It was called The Curse of the Camp Mirror Lake. And someone bought out this camp because it's not active anymore, and they hired a group of actors, and now they're recreating the story that was in that horror movie, and they invite in guests to participate in this slasher. And everything seems fine. The camp has been working for a few years when eventually things start happening in this camp for real, and these actors that go missing and find dead. And this is a story about the girl who has been playing the part of the final girl, and now this is her chance to actually become the final girl in the real life slasher. I had a good time with this book. It felt for me like I am watching a slasher movie, and that's exactly what I pretty much wanted. It gave all the right summer vibes as well, because the events are happening in summer and it's a summer camp, so that was fun as well to kind of immerse myself in this atmosphere of, you know, kids camping, secrets, serial killer type of thing. Please let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed this vlog and if you want to see more. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next one.